Observability side, we'll go through this relatively quickly. I mean, as we mentioned, this is our go-to. This is our platform. We've been a control up, partner for over 10 years, 11 years. I've been an early advisory board member, also on their technical advisory board. They evolve so much more than VDI DaaS. It does physical endpoints now. It's very employee centric, so really kind of invented the DEX market. Endpoint security side now with SecurityX, application management, application visibility with SaaS apps now, as well as UCC on the communication side. So really all inclusive when we talk about managing the full estate in that last mile. Physical endpoint, cloud PCs integrated as well, and the VDI, and it all rolls up to that employee. And what's that overall experience look like? They're doing a fantastic job there on the observability side. So
Yeah. Yeah, and why do we need that? I mean, Azure Monitor Insights for AVD, right? But that costs extra. Log Analytics, Azure Monitor, W365 has built-in reporting, as you can see here. You know, it has some stuff, some nice reports, some stuff, some data you can get straight from the Intune Admin Center that are just native. But ultimately, it's pretty limited when it comes to a product like ControlUp that's dedicated and been just sensational about end to end, and with them now having a huge focus with Cloud PC, for example, and have been on the AVD side for a while. You're going to get a lot more from that type of product, but just know that you do have this capability in the Intune Admin Center to be able to see statistics, see some things, do some basic, some reporting, and this is built in here. For Cloud PC, AVD, you have to pay extra for any and all of that, right? So, and then control up the enrich extension, which Shane already showed. As you can see here, we've got it tied into that enrich extension can be an overlay onto a lot of different stuff, ServiceNow, Intune. So you can see that we've got that tied in.
especially now it's any SaaS app, which is pretty nuts.
The SaaS app, right? Where you can just pop into the control up for desktops, formerly EdgeDX, pop it over, show it like Shane showed it in the video. And then the Edge DX, which is now their control for desktops, like I mentioned, the true end-to-end visibility, Cloud PC, AVD. That's our eyes and ears. What that looks like. You can see up here the tab, Windows 365. That's the kind of new thing. Shows it all in here, real nice. Has everything right there in our one-stop shop, our dashboard there for Cloud PC. And as you can see here, even tying the two together, Nerdio has control up integration. Now, what this is for is just the agent. So it's really for Nerdio helping deploy, make sure the control up agent is on our host pool, on our session host in our host pools and deployed correctly. So that's what that tie-in is here. It's pretty recent as far as that goes, but the two do tie in together, which is nice. So some real world scenarios that we'll quickly go through in our last few minutes.
Yeah, I guess, would you want to mention, I guess, just because we're coming close to time, I guess, because we do want to, if there are other commitments, where this is going to be fully recorded, we got probably another 5-10 minutes, but we're going to be talking now about the real world scenarios. We're going to go through actually talking through real world customer scenarios for a few minutes, and we'll kind of wrap it up. So, but it is recorded, but so if you do have another commitment, but we're gonna keep rocking and rolling here, and then so we can finish out the recording, and you'll see the video as well. So.
Yep. And Shane, you can go over this first one there.
Yep. Yeah. So this was a customer of ours that really needed graphic acceleration. They had kind of an antiquated these M10 cards that were on premises. And that's one of those things, right? You buy hardware, it depreciates, right? Deprecates or whatever. I always mess that word. It depreciates day one, right? Essentially, you buy that card and it's already losing money, right? And new stuff comes out, right? And so they wanted the ability to basically grow that contractor base. And so we're looking at, working on a proof of concept with them right now. And the Jumpstart, it's an offering that we have where we can essentially, stand up for a few days. We go through like a whole workshop and stand up Cloud PC and walk through it all and work with Microsoft to get licensing as part of that and everything. And so we did that for them, and they're looking to grow that to potentially 300 users. So the standard users on the graphic intensive workloads, they'll be using ANC because they're going to be sitting in Azure, and then they're essentially using ANC to get back to some of the data set as well. And those will be hybrid joined for contractors because they want it. And also contractors will be on the zero trust model as well.
Yeah. And then just it goes across all, right? Smaller one. We did a, library needed kiosks, and they wanted Citrix doing what Citrix is doing, right? They weren't a good fit for Citrix anymore, being smaller. moving them off to AVD. So, and this one is, Entra ID, hybrid join, pooled Win11 kiosks, stations for a library scenario, right? In this case. And then moving on from there, we got this third scenario here on this one. This one gets into a larger global enterprise, right? So a lot of users, a fair amount of cloud PCs, multiple geos, ANC with Entra ID join for cloud PC. But again, moving from Citrix, not liking Citrix making Citrix moves, moving more of a heavy focus on Azure, like we talked about previously, in different DaaS platform. That was the scenario there for them. This one here, they wanted to diversify, integrate some of their international geos from on-prem Citrix desktop cloud PC. You're noticing a trend. A lot of these are going to be Citrix based on the just stuff that's happening, right? And then also the Win10, Win11, they move into Win11. This is a natural way to do it. Desktop for that modern desktop management and management scenario. 300 or 400 of these Entra ID with MHN and growing. So could several thousands is what this could grow to. And then is that going there?
Yep. Yeah. This is a customer that needed to migrate off DaaS. So they wanted to move away from, because of the additional commitments and multi-year agreements coming from the Citrix side. So, financial traders essentially moved over to AVD with Nerdio. This 200 plus personal host pool. Today's traditional AD join, but potentially looking at, Intune for some additional integrated management. So the idea is just talk through some of the different scenarios, but it's all shapes and sizes, right? I mean,
Yep.
We have some very large customers that are growing into the thousands, and you don't have to be that size to be able to take advantage of this technology.
Yeah, and this last one is looking a heavy push to Azure, migrate away from Citrix. Again, not happy with it. But it's a mix. It was a mix of cloud PC. What worked, what was good for the design was a mix of cloud PC and AVD. And there's my timer, but yeah. So and that leads us to the cost exercise. So I'm going to quickly go through this, but the point being, before I throw that up, everything has a cost to consider when you're moving. So this one's interesting because it's an exit plan, right? From Citrix. Let's get off Citrix. Well, what do we got to consider? Everything. You got to consider all kinds of stuff. So as you can see here, AVD server 2019, we're going to move to some Win11 multi-session. We're going to use auto scale, but so we got a bare minimum that's going to be up, but we got some auto scale. So I split them 10, 15, 10 minimum, 15 are going to be scaled. You can see the instance type, go through all the calculations. We're going to use ephemeral disk because we can. Those kind of things come into that thought process. Well, that comes out to, $4,800 roughly per month, this per year, 58. And then cloud PC, we got 50 of those users. Well, what we're using today for on-prem persistent, this is our specs, ended up being that $66 fixed price, right? So that's another $3,300 per month, $39,600 per year. So as you can see, we're starting to add up. And this is that what Shane talked about earlier, where you start drawing out the cloud PC. What does that look like? What do we need? What is, as far as the qualifying licenses, so on and so forth. So as it gets to those qualifying licenses of orchestration, well, in this case, we weren't going to do AVD native. Again, that Nerdio managed for enterprise. There's costs. You can pick and choose based on all the features. So there's a $6, a $10, $1 add-on for Intune management. That's basically it. List prices, that kind of stuff, MSRP, whatever you want to call it. It's discounting, but just know that you got to figure that in, right? So that minimum 250 infrastructure cost plus the licensing that comes into play. As you can see here, the cost. And then the Intune. Let's say you don't have a lot of those licenses already. Everybody assumes we have M365 or we have, some don't. In this case, we're a Google shop. And so we were doing RDSH on-prem, RDSH licenses, server OS, not a lot of client. In this case, we got to add in some licenses now for that virtualization rights. So as you can see, we need Intune now with Cloud PC. Stuff we got to think about, right? So that's for another $4,500 per month, $54K per year, based on this many users, right? In our case, we can get away with a cheaper one, maybe for a nonprofit plan, but you can see these blow up quickly for most in the enterprise space, even the business premium side of things, per user per month costs. And then, at least with Win11 multi-session, you can reduce some of that reliance on the RDSH licensing. What does that equal in the end? Boom. That's anywhere from 170 to 210, depending on what the features and what Nerdio plan we build or use. So there's costs involved. So just know that everything has a cost to consider, and then moving from there, bonus round, Citrix,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, so for those customers that are still on Citrix and staying with Citrix, and Citrix for the larger customers, the customers that are growing with Citrix, it is best of breed, right? It's unbelievable when they keep investing in the platform, the acquisitions of Device Trust, now Unicon, right, for endpoint management, essentially like an ideal competition, right, part of the platform, constantly building all this in, right? And so it's not that it's a bad solution, it's just that it's not right for everybody because not everyone's willing to grow or move with Citrix in that direction. But if you are, and it's expanding, the universal hybrid multi-cloud license is fantastic. They actually, again, added into it to basically say, hey, we know you're moving to cloud PC. We want to enable that. We're going to allow you to use all the HDX story in front of it from an unlimited number of scenarios at no additional cost. So if you're 1,000, universal hybrid multi-cloud licenses and you hire 5,000, crazy numbers, but you hire 5,000 contractors, they're not going to charge you 5,000 Citrix licenses. They're going to let you broker those cloud PCs. Now, 3 years later, they might come back and say, hey, we saw the utilization. Don't know. But today, it's unlimited. And they're allowing you to use secure private access from the MHN, Microsoft Hosted Network scenario, to get back to on-premises using the SPA platform as well, which is pretty big. But so things like session recording, profile management, the entire protocol stack, that's all policy engine, all part of it. You can do workspace app to access it, as well as fail back to Windows app. So if Citrix goes down, you can connect through Windows app and use the AUD control plane. And essentially, it's all done through quick deploy. It's a matter of just dropping a user in a group, and it automatically pushes the VDA out. Take the user out of the group, it pulls the VDA off. So it's very integrated.